Hello everyone, it's Ben from Senior Computer Services International. So in today's aspect, I want us to know about the course I'm going to take you through. That's business computing course. So business computing course, it's a business course that brings the application of computers in real world business operations. So let's talk about business computing. Business computing is the application of computer technology to solve business problems, manage information, and facilitate business operations. That's such as accounting, marketing, human resources, communications, and the others. Let's talk about key aspects of business computing. One is data management and information systems. So you have to know that storing, processing, analyzing data for better decision making. Another area will be accounting and finance. Then human resource management. Don't forget that you shall also have marketing and sales, as well as communicating and collaborations. So additionally, we shall have decision support systems and then cyber security. Those are the key aspects of business computing. That's some of the things that you know in line with business computing. Additionally, let's talk about some benefits of business computing. Business computing, one, it increases efficiency and productivity. It reduces operational costs. It enhances communication and coordination. You have to know that it improves accuracy and timely information. It improves customer service and certification, and even it supports strategic planning and innovation. So, examples of business computing application: one, we have accounting; two, we have marketing; three, we have human resource; four, we have communication; five, we have decision making. In accounting, basically we shall use QuickBooks, because QuickBooks, it will automate financial management. Then in marketing, we shall have Google Ads, whereby you can run your target online campaigns using Google Ads. Then in HR, or human resource, we shall have Boom HR, whereby you can manage employee records, or we can use Senior Computers HR system. Then in communication, let's talk about Zoom, whereby we are able to conduct virtual meetings. Then decision making, we can also use Power BI, whereby we can virtualize and then analyze data. So in summary, business computing integrates technology and business management to make organizations or businesses more efficient, data-driven, and competitive. It's essential in today's digital economy, where most business operations depend on reliable and secure computing systems. So, before we dig and get to know that this business course, it helps to drive the aspects of developing the use of ICT in business operations, and by that we are able to implement or use advance our operations in more effective ways. So let's begin with introduction to computer. So computer is an electronic device operating under control of instructions stored in its own memory that can accept data input, process that data, to specify the rules, to provide information, that's an output, and store the information for future use. So computer, as a computer, it's just a device that you will see, device, but it can't work on its own. It has to receive instructions from you, the user. Then after receiving instructions, it has to process that instruction into the required output that can be stored for future use. That's a computer overview. It can be terminology, or it can be phrased in any way you may wish, but that's the best key terminology that I can base on for this regard, or for this purpose. Though there are so many ways how we can frame it, or how we can apply it, but all in all, everything will take you through the same hierarchy. So let's talk about functions of computer, or functionalities of a computer. Any digital computer carries out 5 functions in gross terms. Any computing device that you can talk of. 1, it takes data as an input. Whereby data, being that those are raw facts, or non-processed information. So those raw facts are accepted by computer as an input. Those raw facts are accepted by computer as inputs. Or as data input. So data basically, you'll find that it is an aspect. It is an aspect that low items. Those low items are the one that is defined as data. So that's one aspect. That's one functionality of a computer. Then secondary, stores data or instruction in its memory and use them when required. Any computing device is able to store information and used at any desired time. Any computing device is able to store data. So if your computer, or if your computing device is not able to store data, then that's not a computer. That is something else. You understand? But any device, or any computing device is able. Yes, functionalities of a computer. So we should know a computer performs which functions. That's the basic aspect. Because any computing device, in any course that you take related to business, you should know what's the use of a computer. Because you can expect a computer to do things that is not supposed to do, or that is not meant to do. So any digital computer carries out these 5 functions. 1, it takes data as an input. As it's well known that data is low, that those are low facts, or the details, or the things that are going to be processed into information. That any computer device, or any computing device, should be able to take that data as an input. It should be able to store data or instruction in its memory and use them when required. I want to do this. I want to do printing. It should be able to store that instruction or that data that will be printed later. So any computing device should be able to process data and convert it into useful information. It should be able to generate an output, whereby I should receive what I have instructed a computer to do. So a computer should control all the above steps: data input, process, store, output, among others. So let's talk about the two main computer components. The two main computer components are hardware and software. We shall look into details what is hardware is and what is software is in the details. So hardware is the collection of physical elements that consists of a computer system. So you find that a computer hardware are physical parts or components of a computer, the one that you can touch and feel. That's monitor, mouse, keyboard, computer data storage devices like hard disk, system unit, graphics cards and sound cards, memory, motherboard, as it's found on a system unit, and the others. The parts that you are able to touch and they are connected to a computer, those are the hardware, as it's seen in the diagram below. So let's talk about input devices. We said input. Let's talk about input devices. Input device is any peripheral device. A peripheral device is a piece of hardware equipment that provide data and control signal to the processing, such as mouse that are just attached. So these are peripheral devices. These are devices that are just attached to a computer, whereby it's connected via ports. Those are peripheral devices. So input, for them we need devices that are just attached to a computer and they are used to enter data into the computer, or the computer can use to accept data input. So input device translate data from the human understandable one that a computer can work with to that one a computer can work with. So a computer, for it to know or to know that you need it to print, it has to get that instruction that commands it to print, and that instruction can only be got through an input device, whereby we are able to give a computer instruction that print like using a keyboard. That's an input device. So examples of input devices: we have a keyboard, have a numeric pad, pointing device like a mouse, remote control, joystick, touch screens, scanners, graphic tablets, microphones, digital camera, webcams, light pens, and so many others. Those ones that will be used to provide a computer with an input, whereby there is no way you can tell a computer what to do when there is no input device. So that input device is so fundamental, or so important in that sector. Examples of input devices: the other one were manual. Now let me give you the input devices: keyboard, touch screen, touchpads, graphic tablets, video capturing hardware, that's a camera, barcode reader, gamepad, mouse, scanner, microphone, webcams, cameras, he said it's video capturing, and so many others. Let's talk a little bit about keyboard. A keyboard is the commonly device, whereby the most commonly used keyboard is the QWERTY keyboard. and it generally has 104 keys. It begins with Q, next W, E, R, and the other continuing device. So in short, let's talk about the central processing unit. Central processing unit. So a central processing unit is the brain of a computer. It's the brain. It's responsible for all functions and processes regarding computer power. The CPU is the most important element of a computer system. If the CPU is not there, then don't talk about a computer system, because it's a controller. It manages all the operations of a computer. If it's not there, then nothing can be done. The central processing unit, or CPU, it basically has three main parts. One, arithmetic logic unit, ALU. This one, it executes all arithmetic and logic operations like additions, subtractions, multiplication, and divisions. So this one, it does logical operations because it does arithmetic logic. So it does arithmetic calculation, that's addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Then it also handles logical operations like compare numbers, letters, and special characters. Another component is the control unit. A control unit controls and coordinates computer components. This one, it reads the code for the next instruction to be executed. It increments a program counter so that it points to the next instruction. It reads whatever data the instruction requires from cells in a memory or in a memory. It provides the necessary data to the arithmetic logic unit or register. And if the instruction requires an arithmetic logic unit or specialized hardware to complete or instruct the hardware to perform the required operation. So you can find that this control unit also coordinates with the arithmetic logic unit for it to perform well. Then the third one are the registers. Registers under processing unit, under central processing unit, is the one to store data that is to be executed in next. Very fast storage area. I'm going to do this. So that instruction, it is executed from the registers. So in the computers, we have what we call primary memory. Let's talk about primary memory a little bit. Primary memory is also known as random access memory in full terminologies. This is the memory scheme within the computer system responsible for storing data on a temporary basis so that it can be promptly accessed by the processor as and when needed. It is volatile in nature, which means that data will be erased once supply to the storage device is turned on. So this one, it holds data temporarily. RAM stores data randomly, and the processor accesses this data randomly from the RAM storage. So meaning that's why it is random. It's known as random access because everything is done randomly. It's not in series. It can be data. It can be accessed from this memory cell directly if you know the row and the column that interact at that cell. Another primary memory is the read-only memory or ROM. ROM is the permanent form of storage. ROM stays active. ROM stays active so I was saying read-only memory is the permanent form of storage. Is the permanent form of storage. ROM stays active regardless of whether power supply is turned on or off, whereby ROM devices do not allow data stored on them to be modified, whereby it's permanent storage. So let's talk about secondary memory. Secondary memory stores data and programs permanently. It's retained after the power is turned off. For example, we have a D drive or a disk. A disk is a part of unit often called the disk drive. A drive or a disk drive that stores and provides relatively quick access to the large amount of data on an electromagnetically charged surface or a set of surfaces. That's one of the examples of a storage device that's under secondary category. We have optical disk. Optical disk drive, ODD, is a disk drive that uses laser light as part of their processing of reading and writing data to or from optical disks. Some drives can only read this disk, but recently drives are common both readers and recorders, also called burners or writers. Have compact discs, DVDs, and Blu-rays are common types of optical media which can be read and recorded by such drives. Optical drive is a magnetic or generic name drive from usually described as CD, DVD, or Blu-ray, following by the drive or writer. There are three main types of optical medias, that is CD, DVD, and Blu-ray disc. CDs can store up to 700 megabytes or MBs of data. And DVDs can store up to 80.4 GB of data. Blu-ray discs, these are newest types of optical medias. They can store up to 50 GB of data. This storage capacity is clear advantages over the floppy disk storage medias or magnetic media, which only had a capacity of 1.44 megabytes or MOBs. Another secondary memory is the flash disk. A flash disk is a storage module made of flash memory chips. A flash disk has no mechanical platters or access arms, but the term disk is used just because the data is accessed as if they were on a drive. The disk storage structure is emulated. Let's compare between RAM and hard disk. This can also be a good comparative between RAM and ROM. So RAM is memory. A disk is storage. You are trying just to make a comparison. RAM store a small amount of data, typically 500 megabytes to 6 GB. And sometimes now it's modified up to 32 GB and other things. Then the hard disk stores larger amount of data, typically 80 GB, 1 terabyte, 100 terabyte, among others. though here I given 100 GBs. RAM stores temporary files and programs, but hard disk can store permanent storage stored files, whereby it can store files and programs permanently. So other RAM, a little like your desktop. RAM has only your current work on it, whereby it stores only that available work. But hard disk contains and retains content whenever you need it, you can access it, whereby it can be a permanent storage device. RAM consists of chips, microprocessors, while hard disk contains platters. When you want to use the program, a temporary copy is put into RAM, and it's that you are using. When the power is powered off abruptly, it can be lost. While a disk holds the original copy of the program permanently. Let's talk about output devices, because that one was under input devices. Let's talk about let's compare between room and room is done. Then let's talk about output device. These ones were under input and storage devices. Now these are output device. Though we shall go into details as time we move on, as we are progressing. An output device is any piece of computer hardware equipment used to communicate the results of data processing carried out by the information processing system, such as a computer, which converts them into electronic generated information into human readable format. So this one, they provide us information from a computer system. So for examples of output devices, we have a monitor, a screen, rather that one's under printers, speakers, projectors, plotters, and others. In short, let's talk about software. Software is a generic term for organized collection of computer data and instructions. Yes, software, these are programs that make a computer function, and software is classified under two. It is classified under two devices. So let's talk about software. Software is just a generic form of organized collection of computer data and instructions, often broken into two main larger categories, and that is system software and application software. Then system software, that one provides the non-task specific functions of a computer, and application software is used by the user to accomplish a specific task. If you have a specific task, like I need this particular type of task, we use an application software. So specific tasks can be, let me say, I want to do word processing, so I'll need a word processor. That's a specific task. Then if I want to, like, my computer to function, I will need an operating software or operating system, and that one, it is a system software. So additionally, they can add on some others like translators and others, but basically those are the main two categories or the major categories in software. That's system and application. Application is related to application, the applications we are using, and system, it is related to computer operations. Those are the major two. Then let's talk about system software in details, in a little details. We shall expand as time goes on. System software is responsible for controlling, integrating, and managing the individual hardware components of a computer system, so that other software and users of the system see it as a functional unit without having to become concerned with the low level details, such as transferring data from memory to disk or rendering text into display. Generally, system software consists of operating system and some fundamental utilities such as disk formatters, file managers, display managers, text editors, automatic logins, management tools, and different control softwares. So let's talk about this software. System software. Let's talk about a little about system software. So system software, it's responsible for controlling, integrating, and managing software and users of the system. So system software is responsible for controlling, integrating, and managing the individual hardware components of the computer system, so that other software and users of the system can see it functional, or can see it as a functional unit without having to be concerned with low level details, such as transferring data from memory to disk or rendering text onto a display. Generally, system unit consists of operating system and some fundamental utilities such as disk formatters, file managers, display managers, text editors, user automation or authentication, that is login, and managing tools or management tools. Not forgetting that even we have networking and device control software. Let's talk about application software. Application software is used to accomplish specific tasks other than just running a computer system. Application software may consist of single programs such as an image viewer, a small collection of programs, often called a software package, that work closely together to accomplish a task, such as spreadsheet or text processing system. A larger collection, often called a software suite, all related but independent program and packages that have common user interface or share data format, such as Microsoft Office, which consists of closely integrated programs like word processor, spreadsheets, database, and others. That one also falls under. So if you will see a shoot package or a single program, it's under application software. Or a software system such as database management system which is a collection of fundamental programming that may provide some service to a verifier to the variety of other independent applications. That one is categorized under application software. So let's differentiate between system and application software. System software is the computer software or just software. Is a general term primarily used for digitally stored data such as computer programs and other kinds of information read and written by computers. Apps comes under computer software, though it has a wide scope now. Then the application software is also known as an application or an app, a computer software designed to help a user perform a specific task. Under this sector, system software, example, you have Microsoft Windows, Linux, Mac OS, Unix and others. But under application, we shall have an Opera, which is a web browser. We shall have Microsoft Word, which is a word processing application. We shall have Microsoft Excel, which is a spreadsheet software. We shall have MySQL, which is the database software. And we shall also have Microsoft PowerPoint, which is the presentation software. We shall have Adobe Photoshop, which is a graphic software. So these are apps. These are apps falling under application software. Let's integrate. Let's do some integration. System software, generally users do not interact with system software as it works in the background, because when you power on your computer you won't see it, you only see display, but that's the display that gives you the what that gives you that interface or desktop is the system software. And application software, users always interacts with the application system while doing different activities. Let's talk about dependence. System software can run independently of the application software, whereas application software cannot work without the process of system software. So let's talk about unit of measurements or storage measurements. So the basic unit used in computer storage is called a byte or a binary digit, or it's a bit. So it's the foundation, or it's the starting counting unit storage or any storage sector of computers. Computer use these little bits which are composed of ones and zeros. Ones and zeros to do things and to talk to other computers. All your files, for instance, are kept in a computer as a binary file and translated into words and pictures by the software. These two number systems is called a binary number system. Since it has only two numbers in it, that's why it's called binary, because by means two. The decimal number system is constructed as 10 unique digits, 0 through 9. So from 0 to 9 That's a complete number system. Though for us we use 1 and zeros. The computer understands ones and zeros. So let's meet again in the next class. Thank you.